Welcome. I'm going to try to make this short. Hitting off of a feed is worthless. I'm going to tell you why, exactly why in this video. And before I get started, see that picture behind me? If you can tell me where that's at, that's I'm not going to tell you who it is. If you can tell me where that's at, send me an email, tell it in the title, in the subject line. In the subject line, where you think that is, and I'll do a free 30-minute video call with you, answering any of your questions. So why hitting off a feed is worthless? Well, the number one reason is because it's not the same as when you're playing tennis. Okay, it's not even close. There is no the feed coming off of a feed will never happen in a tennis match. That's the problem. It doesn't exist in a tennis match. And let me explain what I mean by that. In a tennis match, you have there's actually only one feed. It comes off the serve. So if you're feeding with a serve, that might be appropriate. But from the ground, it doesn't exist. So, and the real reason why it's worthless is because there's no stimulus, there's no reaction, and that's the problem. There's no reaction involved, and that is essential. I'm probably not the best person to explain this, but just think about it for yourself. The reaction to the other person is essential part of the loop. It's a loop that your brain needs to have in that loop in order to learn, in order to consistently know what it's doing. And you're messing up that loop when you feed. You're confusing your brain. And this is why you see people that hit a lot off a feed. Like when you look at Roger Federer play, Look, it's actually, someone said that it's not okay for Roger Federer to hit off a feed, but for everyone else or for beginners, etc., it's okay. No, it's the other way around. Roger Federer can hit off a feed because at this point it doesn't matter. He's played so much fucking tennis, and he knows so much. He knows what he knows, so he can hit off a feed. It's not a big deal. It's worse for beginners. It's worse for us, the amateur. So let me just clear that up. I fucking lost my train of thought. Oh, the baseball analogy. If you think of baseball is like a feed. The guy's pitching, and you think of professional baseball, the top level baseball, professional baseball. The pitches are coming in somewhere between 80 to 100 miles per hour, sometimes maybe in the 70s, but the fastball is mostly between 80 and 100 miles per hour. If the fastball was at 50 miles per hour, these players, it would be a joke. What do they call it? The batting percentage average. I don't know what it's called. Whatever. I haven't played baseball in a long time. Whatever the hell it's called, where they get like 300 batting average, 500. They'd be in the 700, 800, 900s if the ball was going that slow or at more of a medium pace. Okay, and if you notice with baseball players, when they're coming up, they have that number is super high, and then as they get higher in the level, it goes down. It goes down into the hundreds and the 200s, and that is because the pitch speed goes up closer to 100 miles per hour. So why am I using that as an analogy? Well, because that's kind of how it is in baseball. When the coach is feeding, the tendency is to, number one, you can be more accurate. You can hit harder. And I've also seen comments where you could feed different ways and this and that. You're never, ever going to simulate. I don't care if you bounce the ball. I don't care what you do. You're not going to simulate what it looks like in a match, what it feels like, what the brain registers in a match. You're never going to simulate it. All you're doing is confusing the brain. And again, if you're Roger Federer, If you have been on the tennis court, or if you play for North Carolina, and you've been playing tennis since you were 3 years old, and you never hit off a feed, it's probably not that big of a deal. But if you always hit off of a feed, it is a big deal. And when I say never, I say sometimes. I mean rarely. It's not part of you're doing it because you literally have no one else to hit with. I'd rather go shoot basketball before I'm going to hit off of a feed. I will go run before I go hit off of a feed. I will go ride my bicycle before I go hit off of a feed. So if I don't have anyone to hit with, and it's just for fun, or just for because I want to be on a tennis court, I'm going to start thinking creatively, what else can I do besides play tennis today? Now, I know you really want to play tennis sometimes, etc. I'm just not going to do it for that reason. So that is the reason why. And again, I'm going to remind you, send me an email. If you think you know where this is, if you get it right, I'll give you a 30-minute free consultation answering any of your questions. Free video call.